Alright, this is part 2 of a repair on an old Gallagher Snell E12. Old 12 volt unit made back in the 70s and 80s. It's working. I mean, it's going to be working here before too long. We're just got to do some rework to it. So as I'm doing this, I'll kind of explain what we had to do to it in part 1 if you haven't seen part 1 already. Part 1, it was working, clicking, doing its job. Every once in a while it would arc. And I found out that this blue wire here on the very end was arcing. When I pulled this plug off the board, that last contact there was all burnt up and arced up real bad. So when I pulled on that blue wire, the contact was all burnt up too. So I cleaned it up, soldered it. I put solder on the wire itself, and then luckily the solder is still stuck to the side of that thing, to the pin on there, and we were able to solder that wire straight on there. I had to snip side of the plug off because I couldn't get on the right contact to crimp back on this wire to go inside that plug. So I just snipped off the side of the plug to get rid of it, and these 3 wires will still go in there, and then that wire was just on the outside with just solder to it, which is fine. But what we're doing now, what am I doing? I don't need to solder this yet. We're putting a new light bulb in it. Maybe I need to solder it. But what we're going to do is we're going to make like a quick disconnect thing for that light bulb. And we're going to put like male spade connectors on one set of wires and females on the other, or whatever, so that way we can unplug them from one another. But this wire's a little bit bigger than what the wire was that was on this board originally, so we're going to have to oh god dang, it's hot. Going to have to hardwire, since the solder joint's basically gone. I'm going to have to jumper a wire to where it needs to go. So let me go grab, I need some thinner wires, so give me a second. Oh, it's got yellow and green. So we're going to put a little solder on this wire here. Snip up a little bit that's extra. Put a little solder on this, because this solder joint right here is electrically the same one as over here. So I'm going to solder that and bridge them together, or fuse them together with some solder. Then I'm going to see how much I need, cut it off, and I'm going to strip off a little bit more than that. Fuck it, I'm going to just pull that all the way off. Okay. So now we're going to solder that wire right onto that one I shoved through the board. Actually, hold on here. I think I'm going to need to do something different. I think it's going to set up too high. Come on. God. Put it at the base of that wire, and then we'll snip off the excess up top. And then I want to make this wire, I'm going to cut it kind of long, so I have plenty of wire here, but I want to have enough to work with. And Now we're going to do basically the same thing on this other hole. Shift the other hole, and then I'm going to do that yellow or a jumper wire again from that contact to that one. Put a little solder on this yellow wire. And just add a little bit more solder to this tab or spot. Solder that on there. And then we'll run it over to there, and I'm going to snip off a little bit of, let's bend it. There. That way it doesn't touch. Just cut a little long. Shove that wire back through the hole, wrap this around like we did the other one, and slide it down the base of that wire. Alright, do a little soldering. Okay, that's done. And then we're going to cut this wire long as well. Alright, so now we need to put, I'm going to do one male on one and female on the other. That way it's not really a polarity, but I think it just make it easier. So I know which wire goes where if ever this thing ever has to come back in for repair again. So put a male on that one, female on the other. And then on this one, we'll just do the reverse. Oops. That's a little too big around of too much wire, so we're going to snip off some of it. Make it thinner. Oops. Crimp that on there. Alright, so now what we'll do is, we'll just plug it in like this. That will go there, and that will go there. Okay, let's get some scrap out of the way. This wire popped out. Uh-oh. Okay. It's got a little lip to it. Gotta pop that lip up a little bit. Make a little catch on it. Come on. Got it up a little too much. Come on. There it goes. Okay, now it's stuck on there. Okay. Let's get this board back in there. Plug that back on. Let's put some contact cleaner inside that one. And then we'll Dremel out, clean that up. I'm going to take some dielectric grease. What the hell did I put it at? I just had it a little bit ago when I did the other one. And then we'll put some on the pins here. Put some over the top of these little holes here. Plug that on right there. We're working on there a little bit. Alright, let's see what happens now. So we're going to pop that out a little bit. I think it's going to get in the way and hit something. So take this. So we got to take it all the way out first. Oh shit. Alright, hold on. We got to do this differently. I got to cut these back off again. I'll have to redo that. I didn't realize that the transformer's in the way. Now we can put it through the little hole. Now we can put the male and female spades back on there. Just hoping that this bulb works. I think it should. I think it will. The female and male spades out. Plug these things in. I think what I will do, I will solder this wire on this since it's kind of hanging out there. I don't want the wire to bend back and forth a bunch of times and then break. So I'm going to solder that copper wire to that male spade on that one. The other one's fine. But for whatever reason, this one looks a little weak. I don't like it. Come on. Phew. God, solder on, get over here. There it goes. There. Let's take a little bit to heat that whole terminal up. Oh, god dang, it's hot too. Alright, let's see what happens. Let's just power it on before we slap it all back together. Make sure that light bulb flashes. I hope it does. Hook up our 12 volt power here. Power supply is already on. Oh. Something worked for a second. Lights flashing. God, what is it? Uh-oh. Okay, something not right somewhere. Come on. I wonder what was arcing. See if we can. We'll run it without the bulb on there. I think it's the capacitor. I think it's that contact there. Or it's this. So something smells a little funky in it. But charged up, but wouldn't discharge. Let's check the primary side of the transformer real quick, make sure it didn't go bad. Let's see what contacts these are. So this one, I forget which one's my ground. I thought it would have been this other blue one. Nope. Red one? Nope. Oh, it's gonna be plugged in, stupid. Primary is good. What's that secondary reading? That transformer might be shot. Get out of here, fly. Well, I don't know. I think the primary side of the I don't know, because it's charging up. Let's see what it does. I want to test the capacitor voltage across it. It's charging. I can hear it winding up. I mean, we're getting 340 volts across the capacitor. So it's charging up. It's not discharging. So usually that means the primary has gone bad. Which I think the primary is the red and the black. And it reads, oh, there it goes, 0.2 ohms. Oh, I saw it snap right down there. So I bet it has something to do with these contacts on this thing. That black one was kind of, when pulled out, see, it's still pulling out. So we may have to do the same thing we did with that outside blue one. May have to just clean up the and then we'll snip off see, that red one wants to pop off too. We may be hardwiring all 4 of them. Alright, let's get some solder. I need to get this thing going. I wasted almost 45 minutes on this dumb little thing. Alright. That red one, it might stay put. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. You gotta be shitting me. Oh, I see what part of the problem is. That prong broke. That solder joint broke. That solder joint broke. That one's still good, but we're going to add some solder to it just to make sure we can reflow it. But I am going to solder on. I'm going to clean it first. let's get rid of that plug altogether. There's 5 pins on it, but only 4 of them are used. The fourth one, or fifth one in the middle there, is not used. Okay, let's slide this back in here. Plug that back in there. Come on, there. Now it's clicking. Alright, so I'm going to put it all back together here in a minute, but the video is getting kind of long. Let's turn it off and see if I can just put this back together real quick. I will seal that off, but let's power it on. Make sure the light still flashes. Hopefully it does. It's brighter in person than it is on the camera. Alright, well that's it for this little video. I'm going to seal that off. I'm going to let it run for a little bit, make sure we don't have any other little issues. I'm probably going to clean these contacts up down here. It seems like there's a little weak connection down there. So I'll finish that off and everything. But hopefully this helps you out, lets you see how some of these old ones worked and how they're set up on the inside. So if you got an electric fence charger that needs to be repaired, there's our information. You can send something to us. Fencerfixer.com is our website. Alright, so until next time, see you later.